Hello, my learner. You are welcome to this session. I am Asingwire Brian. I am going to handle Integrated Science, Primary 6. And our theme is the world of living things. We also have a topic, classification of animals. We have our subtopic, characteristics of living things. And this is lesson number 1. Before we go any further, I have got some questions which I have set for you. And I believe by the end of this session, each of you will be able to answer them correctly. Thank you very much for this. I believe you have answered your questions correctly. We are going to look at what we call living things. Previously, I believe in primary 5, primary 4, primary 3, we looked at living things. So living things are things which have life. Things which have life. And we have got examples of living things, examples of those things which have got life. An example, we have plants. Plants, we can all see on the screen a plant like cassava plant. We have like an okra plant. We have like a maize plant. You can look at a sorghum plant. All those plants, we have them in our environment. And there are some of the examples of living things. We also have animals. And these animals are both domestic and wild. We all know that domestic animals are animals which are kept at home. And examples of domestic animals, we have cows. You can look at them. We have goats. We have sheep. We have cats. There are very many, but I've just given you a few of them. We also have wild animals. Those animals which live on their own. They live on their own. We don't need to feed them. If I'm to pose a question, is there any amongst you who has ever fed a snake? Of course not. So these wild animals feed on their own. Examples, we have a snake, we have a tiger, you can look at a zebra, you can look at a mongoose, look at that beautiful giraffe. All those are examples of wild animals. And animals, we have said, is also an example of a living thing. We also have another example of living things, that is, we have insects. These insects, I believe each of us knows examples of insects. We have got grasshoppers, we have got cockroaches, we have got sassaflies. We have also got birds. As we said, animals, there are domestic and wild animals. The same applies to birds. Birds, we have got domestic birds, we also have wild birds. These domestic birds stay at our home. We take care of them. For example, we have the hen. You can look at it. We have the duck. We have the turkeys. We also have the cock. You can look at it. We also have the parrot. Very nice. You can also mention more than that. We also have birds which live on their own. These are called wild birds. Take an example. We have an eagle. Look at an eagle. It flies high. We have the kites. We have the crested crane. You see how beautiful it looks like. We have the guinea fowl. We have the fastest bird. That's an ostrich. Look at it. So those are some of the examples of wild birds. So examples of living things, we said, we have got animals, we have got insects, we have got birds, we have also got plants. And these living things have got what we call habitats. You must be careful of the spelling habitat. It is spelled as Habitats. Habitats. A habitat is a place where a living organism lives or grows. Take an example. We have looked at examples of animals. We looked at cows. A cow lives in a kraal, or you can call it a byre. We have got fish. Each of us knows a fish. It lives in water. We have got a dog. A habitat for a dog is called kennel. We have got earthworms. These earthworms live in soil. We have got a spider. A spider which we say that it has 8 legs, or its habitat is called cobweb. We have got another animal, rabbit. The home for a rabbit is a hutch. We have another one called hare. That is a wild rabbit, the one which stays in the bush. So its habitat is burrows. We have got what we call aquatic animals. These aquatic animals are the animals which live in water. If we are to list examples of those animals which live in water, one of them we have fish. Each of us knows a fish. It lives in water. We have got that animal which is very dangerous, a crocodile. It also lives in water. We have got a hippopotamus. Some of you, I think you have never seen it, but look at it. Look at how it looks like. It also lives in water. And we also have plant habitats. Plant habitats are places where they grow or live. Take an example. We have plants which grow on water. For example, we have water hyacinth. It grows on water. Let us look at the spelling of the word water hyacinth. It is spelled as WATERHYACINTH. Water hyacinth. It grows on water and it is normally found on most of the lakes. It grows there. We have water lettuce. It also grows on water. We also have those plants which grow well in dry areas, like cactus. You can look at cactus. This is how it looks. It grows in a desert area. We have also orange trees. We also have wild flowers. Wild flowers also grow in desert areas. Other plants grow in woodlands. For example, we have ferns. Look at ferns. We also have foxgloves. Some of you don't know foxgloves, but look at them on the screen. They also grow in woodland areas. My dear learner, having seen all that we have looked at, I have prepared for you some simple questions. Okay, welcome back from that session. So we are going to look at classification of animals. The word classification is spelled as CLASSIFIcation. Classification. Classification refers to the grouping of animals according to their characteristics. Classification refers to as the grouping of animals according to their characteristics. Someone may ask him or herself, why do we classify animals? Animals are classified for easy identification. Look at these animals. When you look at this cow, it has a different color, it has a different makeup. The way you look at this cow is different from this one. So when you have cows at home, you can easily identify that my cow, which is like this, maybe is sick. So we classify animals for easy identification. We also classify animals for study purposes. For example, we are here at school. We are looking at animals. We are studying them. Those are some of the reasons as to why we classify animals. And I want us to look at some of the characteristics used for classifying animals. What are those things that a person looks at to classify the animals? The first one, we have got the external features of an animal. Those external features are the ones we see at the outside looking. For example, we have got color. Look at the color of this animal. It's different from this one. We also look at the size. Some animals are fat, others are small. Look at the shape. You can look at how different they are. We also look at the number of legs. There are some animals which have got 2 legs. Others have got 4 legs. Look at that animal with 2 legs. The other one has 4. We also look at the hair on the body. So those are some of the features which are seen externally. We also look at the different modes of reproduction. Different modes of reproduction, respiration, and movement. So when you are classifying animals, you first look at those features. I want us to look at factors to consider when classifying animals. The first one is the mode of reproduction. Reproduction. Reproduction is the process by which living organisms multiply or increase in number by giving birth or rise to young ones. These young ones, you can call them offsprings of the same kind. Reproduction is the process by which living organisms multiply or increase in number by giving birth to young ones, call them offsprings of the same kind. When we talk of the same kind, you find a cow giving birth to a calf. You cannot find a cow giving birth to a baby. Or you cannot find a woman giving birth to a puppy. So that's why we are saying of the same kind. We have looked at reproduction. We have seen that reproducing means giving rise to a new generation or new offsprings. So these animals have got their young ones. For example, as I told you, they produce the offsprings or the young ones of the same kind. For example, a woman gives birth to a baby. Look at that woman. She produces a baby. Look at a pig. A pig gives birth to a piglet. A dog gives birth to puppies. Look at those puppies. Look at how beautiful they are. We have an elephant, the big one. It also gives birth to calves. We have our sheep. Look at the sheep. It also gives birth to a lamb. And some of these living things reproduce by laying eggs. Some of these living things reproduce by laying eggs. Take an example. Insects reproduce by laying eggs. Birds reproduce by laying eggs. We have got also salamander. Look at it. It also lays eggs. We have got the newts. They also lay eggs. Look at them. We have also got living things which give birth to live young ones. For them, they don't lay eggs. Like a woman, she gives birth to a young one. Look at that woman carrying the baby. A goat. Have you ever seen a goat laying eggs? Of course not. A goat does not lay eggs. It gives birth to live young ones. We have elephants. They also give birth to live young ones. The number is very many you can mention. Having seen all that, or having learned all that, I have prepared for you a simple exercise which I want you to attempt correctly. In case you get any challenge, you can contact your teacher who is in that class to help you. Welcome back from that phase. I want us now to look at ways how different animals move. We said that the way we classify animals, one of them is the way they move. The way a person moves is quite different from how a dog moves. For example, there are some animals which move by leaping. Look at that frog. Its movement is called leaping. It moves by leaping. The newt, look at them. They also leap. The toads, they also move by leaping. We have also some animals which move by walking. For example, human beings, a man like you move by walking gently. You move gently. Look at how those gentlemen and ladies, they are moving. We have got cats, sheep. They move by walking. We have also got some animals which move by wriggling. Caterpillars. Look at how it wriggles. We have also got some living things which move by flying. Some of living things fly, like birds. Birds fly. Like insects, they do fly. And the reason as to why they fly, they have got wings. Those wings aid them to fly. There are also some animals which move by swimming. They do swim. For example, we have got the fish. The fish swims. We have got the crocodile. Fish, crocodile, all those ones move by swimming. A snake moves by slithering. That's how a snake moves. So if you want to classify different living things, you can look at the way the living things move. For example, how a cow moves, how a toad moves, then you can group them. Having seen all that, how living things move, or how animals move, I have prepared for you a very simple exercise. Welcome from that faith. Thank you very much. I believe you have done it perfectly. We are going to look at another factor a person considers if he or she wants to classify animals. Another one is the mode of breathing. The mode of breathing. Breathing is the drawing in and out of air. Breathing is the drawing in and out of air. We looked at air as a mixture of gases. Air is a mixture of gases. So different animals use different body organs for gaseous exchange. For example, a man breathes through lungs. A man breathes through lungs. And the structures which are found within lungs where gaseous exchange takes place are called air sacs, or we can call them alveoli. The fish breathes through gills. It only breathes in dissolved oxygen. That's why a fish cannot spend some time on ground. Look at how the fish is struggling. If it is out of water, it cannot breathe because on this ground of ours, there is no dissolved oxygen. It only gets it in water. So it cannot live on land. The frog, for them, they breathe through their moist skins and lungs. Their moist skins and lungs. For it can either survive on land or in water. When it is on land, it breathes through the lungs. But when it goes directly into water, it breathes through its moist skin. We have got insects. Insects. Look at the grasshoppers. Look at white ants. All of those insects, they breathe through spiracles. They breathe through spiracles. Having looked at all that, my dear learner, I have prepared for you a beautiful, simple exercise which I need you to answer correctly. Welcome from that session. Let us look at another factor that one needs to consider when classifying a living thing. Number 4 is the mode of feeding or feeding habits. Different living things feed in different ways. For example, there are some animals which feed on flesh or meat. They feed on flesh or meat. Look at the meat. Most of us like chicken. Look at chicken. So some animals feed on flesh or meat. Even you can feed on flesh. Those animals which feed on flesh only, we have got lions. Look at how the lion is chasing the fellow animals, the ones to look for flesh. We have got the tigers. The tigers also feed on flesh. We have got other animals which feed on plants and flesh. They feed on plants and flesh. Take an example. Man, you and I, we can feed on plants. We can also feed on meat. The rats, look at the rats. They can feed on plants. They can also feed on flesh. We have got other animals which feed on both grass and vegetables. Take an example. Cows. Look at how they are feeding on grass. We have got elephants. We have got zebras, mentioned but a few. All those feed on grass and vegetables. Having looked at all that, I have prepared for you a simple activity. I believe you are going to pass it excellently. Another factor to consider when classifying living things is the type of fertilization. Fertilization is the union or fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Fertilization is the union or fusion of a male and a female gamete to form a zygote. A zygote is a developing embryo. Different animals undergo different types of fertilization. Different animals undergo different types of fertilization. There are some animals which undergo internal fertilization. Internal fertilization is the union of an ovum, call it an egg, and the sperm cells during sexual reproduction inside the female's body. Is the union of an ovum or an egg and sperm cells during sexual reproduction inside the female's body. Some animals which undergo internal fertilization, we have got man, we have got goats, cows, we have got bony fish. They undergo internal fertilization. And we have got other animals which undergo external fertilization. And external fertilization is a mode of reproduction in which a male organism's sperm fertilizes a female organism's ovum outside the female organism's body. For it, fertilization takes place outside. For example, fish. Look at how fertilization in fish takes place. Look at the frogs. Fertilization takes place outside. Thank you very much, my learner. I want us now to look at the characteristics of living things. The first one is living things feed. And feeding is the act of taking in food in the body. Feeding is the act of taking in food in the body. When you get food, if you get your rice, you get your posho, if you get your beans, and you put in your mouth and take it in, that is what we call feeding. We have got some living things which feed saprophytically. They feed saprophytically. And those living things which feed saprophytically are called saprophytes. They are called saprophytes. And these saprophytes, for them, they feed on dead decaying matter. Dead decaying matter, take an example, cow dung. Those plants which are rotting or which are rotten, when they rot, they form what we call decayed matter. So those living things like mushrooms, puffballs, look at molds, toadstools, for them they feed on those dead decaying matter. So all those living things, as I have shown you up, they feed saprophytically. We also have got some organisms which feed parasitically. The word parasitically comes from the word parasite. A parasite is a living organism that feeds and depends on other organisms for shelter. A parasite is a living organism that feeds and depends on the other organism for shelter. So these parasites, for them, they depend on a person. For example, we have got bed bugs. These bed bugs hide under your mattresses. For them, they feed on you, but you don't feed on them. We have got the ticks. Where do we find ticks? We normally find them on the skin of a cow, feeding or sucking blood. We also have got the worms. Those worms are found inside the animals. For example, look at those hookworms. Some of you, after eating dirty food, you start saying, oh, my stomach is paining. You find those worms are inside you and they are feeding on your blood. But for you as a person, you don't benefit from them. Instead, for them, they depend on you. So those animals or living things which depend on other animals, we call them parasites. Thank you very much, my learner. Having looked at that characteristic of living things, which is living things feed, I have prepared for you a simple task. I want you to attempt it correctly. The second characteristic of living things is living things respire. Respiration is the process by which living things use food and oxygen to produce energy carbon dioxide and water vapor. That is what we call respiration. Respiration is the process by which living organisms use food, oxygen, to produce energy, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. So when you take in your food, you expect respiration to take place. And when it takes place, you get energy. Sometimes when you're in a class, you have not yet eaten anything. You find you are like this. But when you eat food, you gain energy. And we have got different types of respiration. The first type of respiration is aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, the type of respiration that involves the use of oxygen. For this type of respiration, oxygen is very important. It has to be used there. We have got another type of respiration, anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is the opposite of aerobic respiration. For it, it is the type of respiration which does not involve the use of oxygen. For it does not use oxygen. The main raw materials for respiration, we have got food and oxygen. So for the respiration to take place, food and oxygen must be there. Another characteristic of living things is living things breathe. Living things breathe. And we can define breathing as the act of drawing in and out of air. Act of taking in and out of air. You take in air, you also take out air. So that process is what we call breathing. Is what we call breathing. Another characteristic of living things is living things locomote. Living things locomote. To locomote means to move. To locomote means to move from one place to another. That is locomotion. To locomote is moving from one place to another. We have said living things locomote. Do you know that there are reasons as to why living things or as to why animals move from one place to another? Have you ever asked yourself why you move from this place to another place? These are some of the reasons as to why living things locomote. One of them is living things move to look for food and water. I normally look at you when they ring the bell. They gong it at lunchtime. You run. You go to the dining hall to get food. So living things move from one place to another to look for food and water. Living things also move to look for shelter. So living things move from one place to another to look for shelter. That is to look for where to stay. I believe each of us has where to live. Don't you have where to stay? Yes, you have. You have your home. So you find animals also move. For example, like a cow. When it goes in the morning, in the evening it comes back to look for where to stay. It comes to its kraal. So animals move from one place to another to look for shelter. Animals move from one place to another to look for mates. To look for mates. For example, if it is a female animal, you find it is moving towards the bulls so that it can mate. Even you can also find the bulls moving to where the cows are so that they can mate. Living things also move to look for protection. Take an example. If a snake comes towards you, do you remain there? Of course not. You have to run. which means you are moving from one place to another for protection. So animals move from one place to another to look for protection or running away from enemies. Another characteristic of living things is living things excrete. Living things excrete. From the word excrete, we get the word excretion. Excretion. Excretion is the removal of waste products from the body. The removal of waste products from the body. We have got examples of waste products which must come out of our bodies. For example, urine is one of the examples of waste products. You cannot keep urine inside you. We have got sweat, especially when it is too hot, you see the body sweating. So sweat is one of the waste products which are removed from the body. Another characteristic of living things, we have got living things respond to stimuli. Living things respond to stimuli. Animals and plants respond to different circumstances in the environment for survival. Animals and plants respond to different circumstances in the environment for survival. For example, touch. If somebody touches you, automatically you will respond. You feel somebody has touched you. You are responding to that stimuli. You have got heat. When you are still young, you could touch fire and feel it. But when you touch it, you feel it and you quickly respond and move your finger. Pain. Let's take an example. You're playing football or netball. You knock your foot on the stone. What do? You quickly respond. We also have light. This one is common in plants. When plants are growing, they grow towards the source of light. So they respond to light. There is also gravity. Plants respond to gravity. My dear learner, having seen all that, I have prepared for you a beautiful, simple activity which I need you to answer correctly. In case you get any difficult, you can ask your teacher who is in the class. Wow, thank you very much, my dear learner. For this, we have come to the end of what we are supposed to have in this session. Remember, at the start, I gave you some guiding questions, and I told you by this time, you are supposed to be able to answer them correctly. So I would like you to compare your answers with mine. Thank you very much for answering them correctly. Excellent. I love that. You have done it perfectly. I have prepared for you simple questions which sum up or which summarize whatever we have learned today. And I want you to answer them correctly. I want you to answer them correctly. Make sure your handwriting is neat. Make sure you have the correct spelling of words. And after that, hand in your book to your teacher for marking. Thank you for attending this session. I remain Asingwire Brian. May God bless you.